Good morning, my dear friends. My name is Ana Moreira. I'm the president of the Portuguese Society of Integrative Medicine, and I'm the president of the Congress of Integrative Medicine we are doing these days. I'm a medical doctor. Since more or less 14 years, I work on this integrative medicine field, and I'm very proud to tell you that we started by doing a national congress in integrative medicine, and as we have to do it online due to the pandemic we are living in the world today, well, we started inviting friends all over the world, renew medical doctors and teachers on the integrative medicine field. And so we have accomplished to make an international congress organized by the Portuguese Society. And so we have speakers from 25 countries, and we have 2,000 attendees from 22 countries. So I thank you very much for being there and making this possible. So today I come to talk about the integrative medicine. How is it in the world, and how can we remember how did this started, this thing, this area, this field that we call integrative medicine now? The first thing I think we should talk about is that we need to clarify these basic concepts about the name. We call integrative medicine, complementary medicine, or it was called alternative medicine. So it's very important to clarify this concept and this idea. So when we verify in our clinical medical practice that the techniques we use in the area that we conventionally call integrative medicine are very interesting from a therapeutic point of view, and that the medical community globally doesn't know very much about what we are talking about, is very important that we clarify this concept. So where did this started? All our medical tradition is based in the Hippocratic tradition of the medical thought. And if we study a little bit about this, we understand that the basis of what we call a clinical examination are described by this colleague, by this medical colleague, what we call it medical colleague Hippocrates. Of course, we have to understand that the names he used back then are not the names we use now, of course. So Hippocrates talked us about 4 principles to see a patient. Observe, study the patient, not the disease, evaluate honestly, and help the nature. And if we translate these 4 basic principles for what we do now and what we call a diagnosis and a treatment, we think that Hippocrates had an integrative vision in all of his medical work. So Hippocrates said that he would define medicine for him. He said, freedom completely of pain, the patient, or ease the violence of the disease, and not treat the patient who has a disease. So he was talking about integrative medicine because he was teaching us to evaluate the patient and treat the patient and not caring about the disease. So when we study a little bit of the Greek and the medical school, we could say that the more conventional medicine is from the school of Cnidos. It's a more traditional medical school. And so we could say the integrative medicine or the complementary medicine could come from the COS school that had more opening from new ideas. So the main difference between the old school of CNIDOS and CNOS was the fact that in CNIDOS there was an interest in more locally of the disease, and COS they had interest in the general of the disease. So in other words, the doctors from COS are related to general medicine, although and the companions of CNIDOS had more specialization. So we could call it a more subspecialized medicine. So the CNIDOS school had more focus on the disease and not in the patient, although the Hippocratic Medical School of COS emphasized the patient instead of the disease and pay very much attention to evaluate the physical examination. So in our medical school, more modernly, beginning from the moment where the technology started invading our medical curriculum, we started to pay less attention to the patient, to the person. So less time for the medical-patient relation, and that made us had more medical errors and less therapeutical results. According to an article from the British Medical Journal from 2016, they aware us that the third cause of death in the United States back then, 2016, was medical error. So, in 1970, the World Health Organization suggested that we should introduce the integrative techniques in the health care systems from each country. And it's very important that we could rule this theory by the medical college from each country and by the medical organization in each country, because it's very urgent that we introduce in our medical curriculum